Welcome back, guys, to the Great Ace Attorney 2 Resolve. Well, last episode, we headed over to Barclay Prison's governor's office and met with Barok Caden, who did not wish to speak to any Easterners until we returned to the hotel and got a note of introduction from Susato's father, allowing us to have a chat, and learning that the man we are searching for was fired from his job 10 years ago. However, on returning to Sholmes' suite to relay this, Gina Lestrade came rushing in with terrible news as Inspector Gregson had been shot dead, the person arrested for the crime none other than Barok Van Zieks, who we have visited in prison. We now continue questioning him before moving on to the scene of our friend's death. After the trial, Professor Hairbrain was supposed to go straight back to Germany, I thought. His letter to inform me of his safe arrival at home. I arranged his passage by sea and rail. It's a relief, I must say. Should now be beyond the reaches of the Reaper. Because the Reaper doesn't follow people abroad, you mean? Yes, so it seems. Your stooped little Nipponese friend, for example, who told me he was keeping well in Japan when I inquired the other day. Yes, that's right. He's an orphan now, happily working in Tokyo. So Professor Hairbrain is safely back in Germany now? He is. So, it appears our conversation has run dry. There was a 2-second silence, that's all. Well, in any event, if you'll excuse me now, I wouldn't like to detain you. I was wondering, Lord Van Zieks, if you'd like, I'd be happy to advocate for you. You trust me, do you? Yes. I've heard you speak many times in court. I've seen how you treat people. So I'm quite sure that you would never have taken another's life. It's just, my feelings can't be used as evidence in a court of law, sadly. It's a very gracious offer. However, I trust no one. What? Not the police, not the judiciary, and not you, Nipponese. But please. I have no intention of engaging your services. The chasm between us is just too wide and too deep, it seems. I'd appreciate it if you don't visit again. Then neither of us will waste any more time. Perhaps we need to dig a little deeper and find out more about Lord Van Zieks and what happened to Inspector Gregson. Perhaps we do indeed. I can't go anywhere but move. I'm literally like, no, leave. Do not talk. Do not examine. Well, let's head to the scene of the crime then. A hidden room accessed from a small alley off Fresno Street in a quiet part of London. This is where Gregson was killed. We haven't seen a body yet. Live in hope. 1st of November. Room on Fresno Street. An interesting room. This really is an out-of-the-way part of London. I doubt many people find their way down this back street. So this dust-ridden rented old room is where it happened then. So this is where poor Inspector Gregson lost his life. Yes, and the police were already hard at work investigating, it seems. I don't see Mr. Sholmes anywhere, though. Perhaps his investigations have taken him elsewhere. Oi, what do you think you're doing here? Or doing there? Every one of them drawers has got to be taken right out so you can look underneath and all. I want the space above this ceiling checked, and don't forget to look inside the chimney stack too. Blimey, ain't you lot never gone over an house looking for dough when the owners are out of town? Gina's obviously got some unique investigative techniques she wants everyone to adopt. It's very clever techniques, to be honest. Oh, so you've turned up at last. Mind you, I ain't been here long myself. Hello again, Gina. Sholmes has only just left. You're lucky you missed that. He went prancing around here, pointing at stuff and flicking that out of his... out of his hand, then just scarpered. Out of his hand? What? I don't even understand the sentence. He went prancing around in here. Yeah, he went prancing around in here, pointing at stuff and flicking that hat of his, and then just scarpered. Okay, it's the Izan. That gets me really bad. Sure, we've translated it. It's all good. Oh, he's finished investigating already, you mean? Yeah, he didn't stop saying nothing to no one. Not even me. Gina, would you mind if we investigated too? Listen, Odo. You're a lawyer, right? Yes. Why? Well, you're not thinking of trying to help that Reaper bloke, are you? Oh, poor Gina. She's never going to forget, is she? That trial will haunt her forever. Gina, if you don't mind me saying, if Lord Van Zieks really is responsible for this crime, he will be duly and fairly judged in court. I suppose you're right. Yeah. Go on then, Odo. Get investigating. I want to know the truth about what really happened here. Thank you, Gina. Alright, you must have some more stuff to tell us. Tell us about Inspector Gregson, his death. Gina, what was Inspector Gregson doing here in the first place? That's what I want to know. It's, half a year since I got out of the clink. That's when I decided to give up me diving and become a detective instead. Oh yes, Mr. Sholmes twisted the inspector's arm to agree to take you on as an apprentice, didn't he? Something like that, I think. Anyway, the point is, I didn't really know much about the boss till then. But it turns out, he's a bit of a legend at the yard. Goodness, really? They say he managed to solve some really tricky case, just like that. He did. Yep, and ever since then, he started going out on all sorts of investigations, but always on his own. No one else at the yard even knows what half the cases he's working on are, apparently. That's not how it's supposed to work, is it? So what was the legendary inspector doing in a dingy little room like this? I know he had a lot of respect for the Reaper and all. And look where that landed him. Respect for the Reaper? In what way? I didn't say as much. I take my hat off to that fella. Were his words. Not how the general public feels, is it? Most people are terrified of the Reaper. Yeah, the boss said that's exactly why he respected the bloke. I didn't realize Gregson held the Reaper in quite such high regard. He said something else to me and all. That I didn't need to worry about the Reaper, because he only goes after people what are bad. It did kind of set my mind at ease when he said that. Right. What is this place then? Does anyone live here? Apparently it's being rented by some cove called Hugh Boone. Hugh Boone. Not Huge Bone. It's a sort of here today, gone tomorrow name. That, isn't it? Yeah, he's what we call an unidentified person. We haven't been able to get in touch with him. I see. Well, judging from appearances, I'd have to say this place hasn't been lived in for a long time, if ever. Right? All the lads from the yard piled down to get stuck into the investigation. But there's so little here, no one knew what to do with themselves. I do wonder. Yes, Miss Usato? Well, could it be that this huge Boone, Hugh Boone, is in fact Inspector Gregson himself? What? How could that be? Well, if he was investigating on his own, it's quite possible that this was in fact some kind of secret office of his. I never even considered that. Nice work, Suze. We're actually following a line of inquiry like that ourselves. You are? If you look around the room, you'll see. There's a few things that hint at it. We should really investigate this place in detail. The incident. I see that's where the poor inspector was found. Over there. Yeah, that's right. They said it was a single bullet what did him in. Apparently the bullet went right through him and struck that candle tree on the wall. Oh yes, it's blown one of the candles apart completely. And the gun used is there on the floor. It's the Reaper's, isn't it? No denying that. What? Really? How'd you know that? Take it easy. I don't know what to do with myself when you stare at me with them big eyes. I'm only saying what I've heard. I don't know much about guns myself. But there's some bigwig lawman or whatever who said so. Why don't you ask him? A bigwig lawman, is it? Anyway, Fresno Street runs along under that window there. There were some street sellers just outside who heard the gunshot. Oh, but I don't recall seeing anybody outside. Yeah, they've all been taken down the yard for questioning. That's why. We're talking about the yard's legendary inspector here, after all. They'll be getting a grilling. Do you think we might be able to speak with those street sellers ourselves? I doubt it. The lads of the yard will just want to know what you're snooping for, and you'll be up for a grilling and all. So we can't interview the witnesses then. Shame. Okay, that's all I can get from her for now, maybe. Time to begin examining things. Do you want me to do the job for you that others didn't do? With the backwards pictures can be viewed. An empty fireplace makes the room feel even colder than it would be otherwise, doesn't it? It's thick with dust, look. I think it would be fair to say it hasn't been used in a very long time. In other words, whoever lived in this room must have been extremely hardy in cold weather. Or nobody lived here at all and merely visited when the occasion arose. I wouldn't like to say which is more likely. No, that's right. It's one or the other. That board is the most interesting point, though. Oh, it's a photograph stand. I suppose it must be a picture of one of Inspector Gregson's family members. Ah! What's the matter? Your eyes look like they're about to pop out of your head. They are, look! Mr. Naruhodo, quickly! Why do I feel like this woman is familiar somehow? Of course she's familiar. We met her only this morning. Ah! It's Mrs. Vigil! This makes no sense. Why would there be a picture of Mrs. Vigil in here? To be frank, I don't think I've ever been more stumped. I'm sorry to say, I have no idea either. The framed photographs have been entered into our court record. Can I look at it further? Not really. It's weird, I wonder how this sounds on video, but it sounds like my sound settings have completely changed on the PS5 due to an update, and everything sounds like surround soundish. It's really confusing me throughout this so far. I'm like, the soundscape has changed. How will this be on video? Tell me in the comments. This looks like some sort of notice board or something. And it's absolutely covered in scraps of paper. Ah, Mr. Naruhodo, look! This, you mean? It's an autopsy report, isn't it? And these are case notes here. And details of prison inmates. Yes, in fact, they're all the sort of documents that only a detective could normally acquire. What on earth went on in this room? Some old newspaper cuttings. Oh, and this one here. Oh yes, the advertisement, you mean. To the Red-Headed League. But why? What's that doing here? Whoever occupied this room was clearly interested in it for some reason. The other stuff I'm interested in. What's up, copper? Excuse me? Oh, Inspector. Oh, sir. Poor man. He can't possibly be able to focus on investigating when he's so upset. Oh, Inspector. Oh, sir. It's actually how he meant to say that, wasn't it? Excuse me? Sorry, sir. Can't see a thing, sir. Too many tears, sir. Right. Perhaps I'd better leave you to your work, then. Now we get into the crazy side of things. The top of one of the candles in this candle holder has been completely blown off. Yes, there's wax spattered on the wall behind. Look. I suppose if a bullet had hit it, it does seem likely that the bullet hit the candle, having first passed through the inspector's body. Ugh. Now that wax on the wall looks like blood to me. The candelabrum has been entered into the court record. The top one of the candles appears to have been blown off. Now, is that something I can further explore? Ah, there are some black marks here, look. Yes, they look like some sort of scorch marks. So perhaps the bullet struck the candle here, do you think? It's only this one candle that's been cracked in half, it seems. Yes, I think you might be right. Firearms are rarely used by criminals in Japan, so I'm afraid I'm not particularly knowledgeable about them. Anything else to check as a whole? Seemingly not. Any perspective. Candelabrum. Let's go down here then. Ever since we came in here, I can't take my eyes off this thing. Oh, funnily enough, neither can I. It's a hairpiece, isn't it? It is! A bright red hairpiece. And I suppose the fact that it's right there next to where the body was found means we have to accept that Inspector Gregson wore wigs, does it? And it's such a flame-colored red too. Yes, that's a color we've come across very recently elsewhere, isn't it? Exactly! This is the vital clue, I'm sure of it. Red hairpiece has been entered into the court record. So I suppose this is where the victim... That's right, the rope is laid around the body to show exactly how it was found. Or Inspector Gregson himself has already been taken away. And would probably be under Dr. Syme's scalpel by now, if not for what happened last week. From the shape of the rope, it would appear that the inspector was curled up in a ball. That suggests quite a bit of pain. Slower death? Are you feeling alright, Mr. Naruhodo? Look like you've just seen a ghost. I know it's just a rope, but, well, it conjures up quite a terrifying image, that's all. Especially with that blood stain next to it. Oh, I do understand. In some ways, what we picture in our minds can be even worse than reality. Susato-san is so strong, though. She's taken this far better than I am. Is she, though? Alright, anything to do with the wig here? I've always wondered what the underside of a hairpiece looks like. That doesn't surprise me at all, Mr. Naruhodo. You always want to see what lies beneath, don't you? I'm not sure that's quite how I'd put it. You must have to use lots of bird lime to keep it in place on your head. So it doesn't get blown off in a gust of wind, I mean. That might be a little inconvenient when you wanted to take it off again, don't you think? Very muchly. He's meant to hook on the ears or something? I've checked out a little bit. Oh, what's this? It would appear to be a little model policeman. It's rather charming, isn't it? In a way. Seeing as it's on the floor here, do you think it belonged to Inspector Gregson? It's a little hard to imagine Lord Van Zieks playing with something like this. It's only about 8 centimeters tall. It could have fallen out of someone's pocket, I suppose. I think we should record it as evidence, just in case. Yes, I agree. It is rather delightful, after all, in a way. The policeman figurine has also been entered into the court record. We're filling the place up at the moment. The helmet of this charming policeman appears to be a little worse for wear. I'm not convinced about the charming part, but yes, you're right. The head part looks like it's been fairly heavily manhandled. Almost as if somebody has enjoyed twisting it around and around for fun. Should we try twisting it around and around too? For fun. Ah, what's that? It appears to be some sort of key. But it's tiny though. It couldn't be a key for a door. Not of that size. So what is it for, I wonder? Right, the policeman figurine is a key. What causes the key-like shaft to pop out from the base? I just clicked on it because it's up here. I mean, that's exactly what I'm supposed to look at, obviously. This looks like some sort of key. Yes, it does. A very tiny and simple key. What's a little key doing inside a figurine of a policeman in the first place? And what's it for? Comes out of his bum. All the way down there. Poor policeman. What have you been hiding? Somebody's very haphazardly nailed those boards over the broken glass, haven't they? You couldn't even really call it a window anymore. Well, if you remember the window in Miss Natsume's room, that was totally blocked up with bricks. This one does at least let in some light, so you could say nothing more about it. I'm starting to feel even more sorry for Mr. Natsume now. Just thinking maybe there's a bullet's gone out there. Excuse me? If you're looking down on us from the great beyond, Inspector, don't worry. We'll look after things at the yard. I've interrupted some deep thoughts there. Poor police officers. Right, well. The last obvious bit of evidence. This is presumably the murder weapon then. Oh my, it is real, I suppose. I think so. Guns are so rare in Japan, I really know very little about them. There's one way to know for sure, Mr. Nanahodo. Fire a shot! No. If I did that, I'd be looking for a skilled lawyer to represent me in court. Slightly safer just to ask someone you might know, I think. Killer's revolver has been entered into the court record. Best to avoid handling it. Okay then, that's pretty much all the room checked out, so I must have to present something to... Gina, maybe. I suppose this must have been the murder weapon. Oh my, it is real, I suppose. I think so. Guns are so rare in Japan, I really know very little about them. Perhaps someone more familiar with firearms could shed a light on things here. We need to find some kinds of ballistic expert or guy who uses guns. But we don't have very many people actually available to access to us at the moment, so... Am I presenting something to Gina? Because it does look like she had more statements, because she didn't tell me to go away or anything. But equally, there doesn't seem to be anything else to examine in this household. Are you knowledgeable on firearms at all? Presumably it belonged to Gregson? Did this belong to Gregson? Gina, what do you make of this? What is that? Evidence? Work something out about what happened, have you? Oh, no, not exactly. I ain't been long enough in the job to get all this deducting business yet. I swear I'm gonna get the person what did this to the boss. Okay, not a good thing. Gina, what do you make of this? What's that? Evidence? Okay, we're getting the she doesn't know statement. Alright, we need to find someone to talk to about the gun by the look of things. Where am I going to go to with this? It looks like Gina really does have some more dialogue to go through, but... Okay, I can't present or do anything with you, so it's not you. No one's here. Well, that's narrowing things down. I mean, not there, really. I mean, actually, he's a forensics guy. Okay, we found at least a new location to go to. Something going on. Oh, yeah. Things are going to be really shaken up here, aren't they? We've made good time. I took an express train back to London. Who? I can hear Lord Strongheart. Can you? Yes, it sounds as though he's talking to someone. Is everything in place? I had a private compartment on the train so I could check all the paperwork. It's Kazuma-sama. Ah, your timing is impeccable. It is. No doubt you have heard the sickening news about the Reaper's latest devilry. Yes. I'm sure you don't believe it, of course, though, Lord Strongheart. That Lord Van Zieks could have done such a thing to Inspector Gregson. I believe only in the facts. And the facts in this case point to one thing. The unavoidable accusal of Lord Van Zieks for this crime. We must bring charges against the Reaper for taking the life of our legendary detective. Oh no, surely not. It's a truly regrettable situation. Tomorrow, the Forensic Science Symposium finally begins. At the very least, though, we can show the world our justice system's swift and equitable processes. So, does that mean the trial is tomorrow? Precisely. In fact, this is a fine opportunity for introductions. Kazuma. Ah, but of course, you're already acquainted, aren't you? Mr. Sogi here will be present at tomorrow's proceedings, leading the prosecution. Wait, what? Kazuma? As I'm sure you're aware, he's a very capable practitioner of law. Kazuma-sama, a prosecutor? Oh my goodness. I can converse with you and then maybe separately with Kazuma? I'm sure you can imagine that tomorrow's trial will be closely followed all over London. In fact, no, people all over the Empire will be watching closely to see how it unfolds. There's no salvation for anyone in a trial prosecuted by the Reaper of the Bailey. And now, the Reaper himself must stand in the dock. Quite so. The public want answers about the Reaper. Answers about how and why those who escaped conviction subsequently died mysterious deaths. But Lord Van Zieks firmly denies any involvement in such matters. And there have been thorough investigations that have proven him to be innocent. That's certainly true. Or it has been, at least, until now. Ah! No, tomorrow's trial will mark the start of a new chapter in our country's great judicial history. So, Kazuma will be prosecuting tomorrow. That's right. But he's a defense lawyer, Lord Strongheart. Accomplished young law practitioners cannot pick and choose their roles. And imagine what it will mean for the prosecution to know the strategies commonly employed by the defense. A devastating combination, wouldn't you agree? Absolutely. I've no doubt at all that Kazuma will be razor sharp as a prosecutor. But why Kazuma-sama? There are surely many other highly skilled prosecutors in Great Britain. It was a personal request. I asked to be assigned to the trial. You asked for this? But why? It'll all become clear tomorrow. I'm guessing you intend to stand for the defense, don't you? Although the Reaper appears to be turning down all offers of representation. I'm surprised such a personal request would have been upheld. It seems unprecedented. Quite exceptional, in fact. You are quite right, Miss Mikotoba. Tomorrow's trial will be unprecedented and exceptional in every way. After all, the accused is one of Britain's greatest prosecutors. The pride of the Empire. It would be unwise to give the public a reason to perceive it as a judiciary closing ranks. So that's why you're happy to let a foreigner handle the prosecution. Ryunosuke, let's see how your skills have been honed after practicing law in this land for so many months. Kazuma, I don't understand why you're being so hostile to me now. This isn't going to end well, my friend. Alright, we're gonna ask him about the killer's gun as well. That seems kind of weird because, of course, we be presenting evidence that we found, of course, as evidence that they have access to on top of that. And they're 100% they've seen the gun. To the prosecution. But now with Kazuma on the other side, we will continue talking here, the Chief Justice's office, next time on the Great Ace Attorney 2 Resolve, where I'm guessing I can talk to Kazuma as well. How? Not necessarily baffling, because we kind of assumed this would happen, I guess, with Kazuma standing across from us. But we know so little. We examined a whole crime scene, looked at evidence, but basically didn't really get anything out of it. At least did get to ask the right questions about that room. So we'll continue on next time, and hope for some answers. And hope that we don't just get catapulted into a trial. But we know it's probably going to happen, right? I'll see you guys then for more. Bye-bye.